Welcome everyone to our Occupational Health Section virtual annual awards luncheon and awards ceremony this year. It's great to see everyone's faces, if not see you all in person. My name is Kevin Riley. I'm with UCLA Loesch. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm going to be your MC and your host for today. We've got an exciting program lined up. We've been able to create a program that somewhat mirrors the highlights of our regular in-person luncheons every year. So Deborah had sent around a copy of the program for today's ceremony. Maybe Deborah can send it, there we go, once more, so folks would like to follow along. You'll see what we've got planned for today. We're going to start off with our awards. We've got several awardees that we're going to be issuing awards to this year, followed by our skit. And then the last half hour of the program today has been dedicated to some time for breakout rooms. There's going to be some social time for folks to connect, have some social time, talk about some of the work we've all been doing during the pandemic. So that's an optional part of the program. The last half hour will be dedicated to that. A couple quick logistics and housekeeping issues before we get started. So please make sure your audio remains mute during the program. That way speakers will not be competing for sound. If there's any technical issues, if anyone has any problems, feel free to put the information in the chat box or reach out directly to Joy Pearson, who's providing technical assistance and support for today. So Joy can help you out. And with that, I think we are going to get started. And the first thing I'd like to do this morning is to hand off the mic to Celeste Montfortin, who's going to kick off our beginning part of our session today.
Hello, thank you, Kevin. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. In a weird way, I'm looking at the participants and I feel like I'm in a room in a convention center. So it's so wonderful to see everyone. I'm gonna share my screen. I hope you can all see it. We're going to take a moment to recognize all the workers across the country and across the globe who are risking their lives during the pandemic to provide goods and services for all of us. The term essential really does not go far enough to characterize their contributions during this pandemic. We are inspired by them, and like never before, we are witnessing workers. They're standing up for their rights, for health and safety protections, and they are walking off their jobs to make their demands known, and they're speaking up for themselves and notably for all workers across the globe. And we must continue to stand with them like never before. So a round of applause. Let's see those hands. At this time, we're going to take a moment of silence to remember all the workers who have died for COVID-19. So we're just going to take a moment of silence. Thank you. And the slogan that we all know, and that means more than ever, is we have to pray for the dead and we have to fight with all our might for the living. And something that is really important to us in the American Public Health Association, and especially in the Occupational Health and Safety section, is we're not just about research, we're about research and action. And so what I would like, and what I want to encourage everyone to do is to go into Google and Google APHA action alerts, and you will see a page that will come up like the page on the left-hand side of my screen. And these are available to us throughout the year. You can click on any one of those blue lines to pick your favorite public health topic. When you click on that, it's going to ask you for your zip code. If you know your zip +4, It can really identify easier your members of Congress. It'll then go to whatever line you, whatever topic you selected, you're gonna put in that zip code, and then it's gonna pull up this screen that's on the right, and you're gonna see your 2 senators and your member of Congress. If you wish to send one to just one of those individuals, you can just click off the other 2. So I'm going to be sending a message today to John Cornyn. He's running for office, so I want to send this message specifically to him. APHA will populate that text box for you with some canned language, but you can always change that. So for mine, I put in, I changed the subject line specifically about COVID funding, and I make a point about, in the text I wrote, about the HEROES Act. And so I list on here at the bottom of the slide an idea you could put is specifically mention the HEROES Act, which is a bill that's introduced in the House and Senate. And if our friends Richard Miller or Jordan Vera were on the call, they know they were instrumental in getting this legislation pulled together. This would require OSHA to adopt an emergency temporary standard. So I encourage you, whether now or at the end of the meeting, to do one of these action alerts. And our new incoming chair, Nancy Simcox, is committed this year to make this as a priority for her. Every month, we're going to try to get as many people in the section as possible sending one of these action alerts. We can develop our own. APHA makes it really easy to put these messages, send these messages to members of Congress. It's a very modest thing we can do, and do it every month. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Kevin for an amazing and wonderful program.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Celeste. So with that, we're going to get right into our award ceremony portion of our event today. And the first award that we are going to give out is the Alice Hamilton Lifetime Achievement Award. This award recognizes the lifelong contributions of individuals who have distinguished themselves through a career of hard work and dedication to improve the lives of workers. And to introduce our award recipient this year, I'm going to turn it over to Glenn Shore.
I met Chip in 1978 when I was working in DC at the US Department of Labor researching occupational disease compensation. And Chip was the research director for the Carolina Brown Lung Association. In amending the Coworkers Pneumoconiosis or Black Lung Compensation Program, the US Congress wanted to know if there were other occupational diseases that weren't being handled well by state workers' compensation programs. Spoiler alert, there are, and there were. OSHA's cotton dust standard reducing legal exposure by 80% had just been published, but cotton textile workers weren't being compensated when they contracted bisonosis on the job. CHIP was contracted by our office as a purchase order, a $10,000 research grant to investigate the situation in North and South Carolina. This study became a crucial component of our interim report to Congress on occupational disease. One of CHIP's findings was the difficulty that brown lung victims had in getting medical doctors to diagnose their conditions as caused by their work, and the importance of presumptive standards to help workers through the gauntlet of compensation hearings. CHIP understood the importance of government service with a sustained interest on behalf of working people. One of the high points of my federal career was a 1980 letter from CHIP thanking me for helping him get access to some DOL data and calling me a responsive bureaucrat, a label I cherished during my 40 years in government. Then Ronald Reagan got elected president, and any progress toward occupational disease compensation victims through federal programs ceased. As a soon-to-be laid-off federal worker, I helped CHIP liberate hundreds of copies of the cotton dust brochure featuring a heartfelt picture of Lewis Harrell before OSHA head Thorne Octor had them collected and destroyed. 2 years after Reagan's election, I had moved to California and got a postcard from CHIP. It read, "Dear Policy Doctor, I have an ailment common to overeducated late 20th century males in the USA. I'm unemployed. The market economy doesn't appreciate my many talents and skills. Can you look into your crystal policy ball for a differential diagnosis, angst, malaise? Excessive expectations? How do they treat such a disease out west? Hot tubs, shrinks, lobotomies? Well, Chip eventually found a job that appreciated his many skills and talents. His incredible support of so many of us through research and education, APHA, and other worker activism, and NIAHS worker training grants, tech savvy, generosity, his incredible enthusiasm for life has made for my most meaningful, sustainable friendship. Chip has broadened my life immeasurably, and I am so honored to introduce him for this Lifetime Achievement Award.
Good afternoon. I want to first give thanks to all of my APHA worker safety colleagues for this really meaningful peer recognition. It really means a lot to me, and it's really important to be able to be recognized by our peers. I next want to share some of my journey from my scrapbook and give thanks to those who have helped me along the way. I will admit unabashedly to being a child of the 1960s. I began the decade supporting an uncle who was running for president at the time, and ended it by dropping out of college to work in the civil rights movement in Southwest Georgia with SNCC. Now, along the way, two slogans were imprinted upon me. The one we all know about asking not and serving your country, and the other one about being realistic and demanding the impossible. Of course, both of them live on within me today. The day after I graduated from college, I began my first job with the United Mine Workers in Harlan County, Kentucky. Working on the Brookside strike against Duke Power, I discovered which side I was on. Actually, while singing the song, Which Side Are You On, with Florence Reese, the actual author of the song, in 1912. The UMWA winning the bloody Brookside strike then led to the Brown Lung movement in textiles, the anti-slavery campaign in the fields of the East Coast migrant stream, and a widening awareness of the scope of worker oppression. Next, I received an unexpected phone call that led to another difficult to imagine request. Would you be willing to work for the federal government? With great thanks to Denny Dobbin, to Don Ellisberg, and to David Rawl, I embarked on the next part of my adventure, which has lasted over 30 years. A few memories, some thank yous, and some shout outs. The World Trade Center cleanup was probably one of the saddest chapters of preventable damage to so many thousands of workers. Large-scale disasters have really defined our historical era, from Sandy to Harvey to Deepwater Horizon to the sad tragedy of Maria in beloved Puerto Rico. We all have learned and embraced the term resilience, the way that we must carry on and build back better, and even hugging virtually those around us. In this endeavor, as in all in life, it takes a team and a family and a village, and I cherish each of those that have been part of making me what I am. I think the thing that I'll miss the most and cherish are the worker trainer exchanges, where hundreds gathered together to share knowledge and skills and make a real difference in the workplace. But the beat must go on, and ergo Elvis lives and breathes and creates and spews forth, and I know that he will continue doing that. I myself move forward with incredible optimism for our movement as I seek the type of internal peace to sustain the struggle for justice along with all of you. And now I'd like to share a few of the things that I've learned over the way, my top 10. The ongoing struggle of worker health and safety crosses many generations and life stages. Whether you're a geezer or a boomer or a Gen Xer, find mentors to guide you and then be a mentor to guide others. Keep the movement alive across generations. Know how to make good trouble, as John Lewis taught us in SNCC. Find other comrades to join you in a lifetime journey, as we all have done in our section. Community organizing and building political power are the utmost importance, no matter where you sit or live or work. Organizing for political power is a key life skill and the lifeblood of any movement. Always make sure that the voices of the dead and the disabled are at the table when decisions are being made about worker safety and health, especially those that will impact on future generations. Eula Bingham and many other workers who have passed on from premature deaths will always be with me and in my heart and my soul. Peer learning, as Pablo Freire taught us, is the best form of education and training, no matter how complicated or technical the content may be. Worker trainers are the most important resource that we have for the health and safety movement. There are hundreds of them across the country. They need your support. As I've learned, fighting for the heart and soul of the government is a key struggle for assuring worker safety and health. It's not only about making democracy work, but it's also about protecting life and health. Whether you're a civil servant like me, or a citizen or a taxpayer, demanding social services, health protections, and protecting civil rights is a part of everyone's job. Numbers, statistics, and data must be turned into stories of life and death. As we know from the COVID, every data point is a reflection and summation of a precious life, a family, and a community. The simple drama of workers' lives is the story that must be told simply, clearly, and quantitatively. Fighting for racial justice and eliminating the vestiges of white supremacy must underlie all of the work that we do every day. The strength of our movement for worker safety and health grows out of the diversity of the voices and our vision for connecting issues and constituencies. Eighth, mental, physical, and spiritual health are all key components of worker health and must be addressed holistically in our personal, family, community, and workplace lives. The opioids crisis in the workplace and the COVID pandemic have made addressing deaths of despair a critical public health crisis that will need to be focused on by all of us. Likewise, COVID-19 has educated our entire nation and our world about the critical importance of protecting essential workers, be they tribal, gig, part-time, undocumented, unionized, or immigrants. We need to capitalize on this mass consciousness to catalyze new campaigns and initiatives for creating and sustaining worker protections. The climate crisis, and especially its impact on the workplace, is the greatest existential threat as a species on our planet that we face. Gathering allies, building coalitions, creating initiatives, and taking to the streets is just another part of our essential responsibility as global citizens of the planet. I hope that we all, along with the next generation, will continue to make important contributions to preventing occupational-related illness and injuries. We will continue to work in the forefront, developing innovative programs to prepare and protect workers in high-risk occupations. Since September 11, 2001, our nation has been forced to take a closer look at how we respond to disasters, how we protect the health and safety of workers, and how to better prepare ourselves in the event of future disasters like COVID-19 and the climate crisis. In fighting the pandemic, I know that we are still faced with an ongoing challenge in improving public health protections for all workers and all responders and all communities. This will be our legacy to future generations. And again, thank you all so much for this great honor of the Alice Hamilton Award.
Shall we come off our mics and give Chip a huge round of applause?
Congratulations!
Hey.
Go Chip.
Good job, Chip. We're scared up for you.
Cheers. 9, 8.
Congratulations, Chip. You really have made tremendous contributions. Had a tireless commitment to the field. It's really been great working with you and learning from you over the years, and I can't think of anyone who deserves this award more. So very nicely done.
Thanks to all of you. I love working with you too, Kevin. Thank you.
So our next award today is the Lauren Kerr Award, and our awardee is Deborah Weinstock. This award recognizes a younger activist for their sustained and outstanding efforts and dedication to improve the lives of workers. And to present the award today, we have a video from Craig Slayton, and then I believe a video from Deborah follows that.
This year's recipient of the section's Lauren Kerr Award, which recognizes a younger activist for her outstanding efforts to improve workers' lives. Deborah deserves to receive this award in recognition of her 27 years of work to protect the health and safety of working people in the workplace and in their communities. In 1993, after several years addressing the health and safety training needs of workers in the U.S. Department of Energy Systems, Deborah joined the National Clearinghouse for HAZWOPER Worker Health and Safety Training, a project supporting the worker training program of the National Institutes for Environmental Health Sciences, NIEHS, which is when I met Deborah. She started at the Clearinghouse as an associate and then became its director. She oversaw operations that provided support to the network of around 20 national awardee organizations, mostly consortia that brought together more than 100 organizations providing health and safety training. These range from union health and safety programs and departments to college and university programs and COSH and environmental justice organizations. Deborah skillfully took on the work of learning about all these programs and providing them with the necessary support to best meet the needs of the workers they serve. In 1998, Deborah went to work in the AFL-CIO Safety and Health Department. She maintained her connections to the NIEHS program and expanded her efforts to address all workers' health and safety needs. During that time, she was appointed to the Labor Research Advisory Council of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Deborah became firmly grounded in the labor movement and in so doing became a key member of the National Health and Safety Network. In 2005, Deborah was recruited back to the National Clearinghouse and has been its director since then. As the Clearinghouse Director, Deborah has applied her broad understanding of health and safety concerns to provide resources addressing technical concerns, pedagogy and literacy, environmental protection, the climate crisis, environmental justice, occupational health inequities, and the research to demonstrate the best practices in worker health and safety training. She has provided critical resources during regional and national emergencies. For example, helping the network of union, COSH, academic, state and local government, and volunteer organizations to provide health and safety training in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy. Deborah's understanding of workers' needs and her operational management skills increased these organizations' success in making disaster response and recovery much safer than it might have been. And while doing all of that, Deborah has been a stalwart member and leader of the APHA Occupational Health Section, having served as our representative to the Governing Council, our section secretary, and she did a 7-year stint as treasurer, making sure that there was funding for our social hours, scholarship fund, and other critical section functions, as and always with a good sense of humor and deep humility. Preparing this, I am reminded of the many projects I've loved doing with Deborah over the past 25 years. It is such a pleasure and honor to introduce her for the Lauren Kerr Award. Okay, big round of applause and finger snapping.
Thank you, Craig. This award
I've been so fortunate throughout my career to have worked for and with so many amazing people. It would be impossible for me to name them all. There are a number of people who have encouraged me along the way, and I want to recognize them here. Ruth Rutenberg, who really helped orient me to worker health and safety, the importance of interacting with rank and file workers, and how to do training evaluation. Ruth also encouraged me to join APHA and get involved with the OHS section, including running for section counselor when I first joined. She truly encouraged my professional growth and development. Mary Miller, who was so welcoming to me as a new member and has continued to be a friend. It's particularly meaningful for me to be getting this award alongside Chip Hughes, who has been such a big influence on me in my career as both a mentor and friend. You just heard from him, and if you haven't had the opportunity of working with Chip, you at least saw his passion for making the world a better place for all of us. Peg Seminario, who gave me the opportunity to engage with union safety and health professionals and activists nationwide, and who also taught me that in order to sustain the energy for this work, it's important to interact with rank and file workers and hear their struggles and successes firsthand. Working at the AFL-CIO, I learned about our wonderful regulatory process and what it takes to get a safety and health standard in place, only to see it taken away by Congress. Yes, I'm talking about the ergonomic standard that is still so sorely, unintended, needed. And I believe that the revoking of that standard through the Congressional Review Act is a huge reason why so many workers today are struggling with opioid use disorder and other substance use disorders. But I digress. Working at the AFL-CIO for PEG also afforded me the opportunity to become a union activist and leader representing AFL-CIO staff who were members of the Newspaper Guild, now CWA. That was its own special learning experience, but one I truly enjoyed. Don Ellisberg, who Chip also mentioned, has been such a wonderful mentor to me over the years and connected me back to the worker training program after my tenure at the AFL-CIO. My husband, Alex, who way before he was my husband, encouraged me to take the job with Ruth, has always believed in my professional abilities and has supported and encouraged me along the way. My parents, who gave me the confidence to do just about anything, and Michael Baker, my current employer and friend, who provides more encouragement and support than anybody could ask for. Over the 27 years I've been doing this work, 20 of them have been spent supporting the NIHS worker training program in one capacity or another. It's been an incredible journey from organizing workshops and meetings, bringing together labor, academics, and community leaders who are battling on the front lines to protect workers, working to ensure materials are appropriate for and reaching vulnerable populations, and recruiting new people to this movement. I've been privileged to work with such an innovative and forward-leaning federal program. You don't often hear those words strung together. It's a program that is dynamic and responsive to the critical issues workers face, all in the context of training, of course. When I left working for Ruth to go to the AFL-CIO, it was largely because at that point, I wanted a broader orientation to worker health and safety than just hazardous waste. And I did get that. But coming back to support the worker training program, it has really been an amazing array of issues I've been involved in. From disaster cleanup and recovery, disaster research, disaster worker mental health and resilience, climate change and work, and prevention of substance use disorders in workers, to name a few. But these are the things I know still need so much work. That the lessons learned regarding how to best protect workers in disaster after disaster rarely get learned and addressed by our policymakers. That's why it's nice to see that NDLM, the steelworkers, and other organizations are trying to get ahead of the curve to establish cadres of trainers, and caches of PPE that are in place and ready to be deployed as soon as the disaster strikes. That just-in-time training, a term people now throw around as acceptable, is really too little, too late. It may be better than nothing, but it is entirely insufficient to protect workers or volunteers doing cleanup work. And that workers and communities need to be better prepared for the disasters that will continue to cause devastation. These are some of the issues I'll continue to work on as I continue this amazing journey. Upon hearing about receiving this award, a colleague of mine wrote to congratulate me. She said, "So much of the work you do provides the underpinnings for what others do, and that sort of thing is too frequently under-recognized." So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about others in our field who work behind the scenes but are so important to allowing us to continue doing our work. The work we do is so important, but we can't do it if we can't show how important it is to those who fund the work. Documenting program impacts and outcomes is critical. Evaluators play such an essential role in helping us document and demonstrate the actions workers have been able to take as a result of training. And they can also help document the barriers that workers often face in taking such actions. They can help characterize the context in which these programs are taking place, whether the training is happening in the midst of a pandemic or if it is happening with the full support of management. Empowering workers to take action to remove or control hazards in their workplaces is what many of us do. Giving workers the tools to identify hazards and to engage in collective action to remove or control hazards they face at work is especially critical now. Evaluators can help us show that the training being provided is in fact making a difference in that way. Thank you again. Receiving this award from a group of people I so admire and respect is really an honor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Audio congratulations to Deborah.
Hey. Deborah, woo woo.
Thank you all.
Congratulations, Deborah. So we have 2 Tony Mazzocchi awardees this year. The Tony Mazzocchi Award recognizes grassroots health and safety activists in local unions or other local organizations that are fighting for the health and safety rights of workers. And here to present the first Tony Mazzocchi Award is Marianela Acuna Ariaza.
Hi all.
Hello.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I so wish that this would be in person. It is always an honor to be in Jaribu's presence. So you can imagine how it feels to be presenting the Tony Mazzocchi Award for her. For those who don't know her, Jaribu is a civil and human rights attorney and a community organizer. She is an author and an international spokesperson on civil and human rights topics. And she is founder and the executive director for the Mississippi Worker Center for Human Rights. Joining workers in their fight against workplace abuses is at the core of her life's work. A former safety and health specialist with NICOSH, Jaribu has advocated for safe workplaces and humane treatment for Mississippi workers now for decades. Through her organization, Attorney Hill has successfully represented survivors of workplace abuse and retaliation as she continuously to join workers for listening sessions and empowering trainings. Jaribu and the center has successfully joined with Mississippi workers to improve workplace conditions and force employers to adopt and enforce policies against unsafe practices, sexual and racial harassment, and all other forms of discrimination. Her advocacy work has made a change for thousands of workers in the state of Mississippi and beyond. It is a great pleasure to have the Mississippi Worker Center for Human Rights to be a COSH affiliate, so I can get to work with Jaribu and see really the depth of her roots, her unwavering solidarity with workers, the level of her courage, and her determination to just get the work done. Thank you, Jaribu, for being such a great example and inspiration for organizers all across the South. We see you, we recognize you, and congratulations for such a well-deserved award.
Thank you so much, Marianela. And shout out to all of my comrades and friends from long, long, long relationships. I see you on the screen. I would not dare start naming names because I would leave someone out that I love and respect so much, but just rest assured what you are looking at, what you're listening to is the product of all of you. And so I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of our members, our board of directors, and our allies who are fighting for the dignity and safety of Mississippi's low-wage, essential workers. Since 1996, the Mississippi Workers Center has stood on the side of the most vulnerable. And we credit our existence, our very founding, with the story of Ricky W., whose last name is being withheld to protect the innocents. A Black poultry worker who contracted a precancerous nostril infection after years of cleaning, processing machinery in a poultry plant in Mississippi. He was told by his doctor that if he didn't stop using chlorine, which is a deadly chemical, and we only associate chlorine with the swimming pool, and we know when we get in the swimming pool, we come out sometimes and our eyes are burning. Imagine the burning that goes on inside the system of a worker who's having to inhale that and clean with it every day, cleaning down the machinery. And so Ricky went to his boss and he told them that his doctor had said he must stop working with chlorine because otherwise he was going to get cancer and most likely die from a nostril form of cancer. Well, the boss tore up the note, gave it back to him, and said, get back to work. And in the letter that the doctor gave Ricky to give his employer, there were life-saving, preventative recommendations that if that employer had taken Ricky's life seriously, it would have been so much better. It would have turned out so much better for him. Headaches, dizziness, nosebleeds, all of these symptoms continued to plague Ricky until a coworker suggested, call OSHA. Don't give them your name, do it anonymously. Well, Ricky didn't even know about OSHA because he had not had the training on the job, but he did call and OSHA came and did an inspection. Well, the bosses who are usually clueless and care nothing about workers did put two and two together and realized that Ricky must have been the one to call and fired him on the spot. From there, Ricky's life just went downhill like so many workers who are victims of unspeakable forms of oppression and exploitation on the job. We can trace Ricky W.'s roots back to the auction block, to the early days of Black workers working for absolutely nothing and being placed in harm's way over and over again just to make sure that the crops were brought in and the profits were made. And so Ricky is a descendant of that kind of suffering. And his suffering didn't end once he lost his job. He went from place to place trying to find another job, and he was unable to do so, spiraling deeper into depression and now substance abuse, homelessness, and joblessness. Ricky is now one of the disappeared. There are so many Rickies out there. So many Rickies out there, so many workers who we don't even know about anymore, who we don't hear from anymore because their lives have been completely wrecked and destroyed by capitalism, by oppression. And so we brought Ricky before he spiraled into depression, before he left us without a word, without us knowing whatever happened to him. We were able to bring him to the human rights conference called SHROC, the Southern Human Rights Organizers Conference, where he eloquently spoke as a keynote speaker. Where else can you find keynote speakers who work in catfish plants and poultry plants? Well, I'll tell you, you can find them at the Southern Human Rights Organizers Conference. And we had to put it on hold this year, but we will be back in full force in December 2021, so film at 11. We invited him to tell his story, and that is exactly what he did. And once he told his story, a call was made from the floor that we establish a workers' center that would address the needs of non-union Black and brown workers who have no recourse, no redress as they fight every day through segregated workplaces where Jim Crow is still alive and well, as they are assigned the dirtiest and most dangerous work, have no resources, no recourse, and no redress. 3 months later, the Workers' Center was born. after being a victim of retaliatory discharge, we know that Ricky's life was completely destroyed. We know that the only way to honor Ricky and all those who've been destroyed because of oppression, because of exploitation, because of greed and callous disregard for life, we know the only way to address it, the only way to avenge what has happened to Ricky and thousands of others is to stay on the battlefield, to fight constantly and vow that no one, absolutely no one, should have to die to make a living. No more in this pandemic, Black and brown workers disproportionately die as a result of not being protected, as a result of always having lived in a pandemic, even before COVID, having to live these wretched lives out with poor housing or being unhoused altogether, work jobs that basically kill them day by day as they work to feed their families. We say no more. We say we must continue the fight. We must not give up. We must not become so discouraged that we don't continue to get in their faces and make them uncomfortable. There's a tendency for oppressed people sometimes to be too polite, to give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't deserve. We have to fight for Ricky. We have to fight for all those whose lives have been destroyed. This award, named by my former union president, Tony Mazzocchi, when I was a NICOSher, we were represented by OCAW, and Tony was our president. This award puts them in the room. It puts workers who don't get invited, who were never allowed to shelter in place, to look at their computer screens right now, or don't even have computer screens because of the digital divide. It puts them in the room where they need to be so that their stories are lifted up, so that their lives have meaning. Their lives have meaning. Their lives have meaning. We have to make sure that they're there. We have to make sure they are not in absentia, but that they are presente in all of the work that we do. So as we stand in solidarity with injured workers through our 450 Weeks is Not Enough campaign, as we stand in solidarity with workers who are shown nooses in the workplace and are victims of attempted lynchings, we unearth always our work on terror on the plant floor. As we continue to stand with workers who are dying to make a living, we say no more. We say that now more than ever, we have to stand firm and we have to fight back against all of the evils that are crushing the working class. All manner of human rights abuses must be addressed and their voices must be heard. So thank you to my early teachers at NICOSH, my colleagues at National COSH, DC 37 AFSCME Safety and Health Department, and the National Employment Law Project. Thank you to the OHS section of APHA. Thank you to all of the partnerships that continue to make a difference for so many of us as we move forward in this treacherous and deadly and dangerous time. We have to be optimistic. We have to be clear on our mission as revolutionary change agents to make a difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ricky. Your life matters. Your life matters as we lift you up now. We hope that you are safe. We hope that we get to see you again. Thank you so much, comrades. Thank you, Marianella, for the beautiful introduction. Thank you so much, all of you, for the inspiration that you are to the work that we do in the bowels, not the belly, but the bowels of the beast in the Mississippi Delta, where 43% of the population in the 21st century languishes in unspeakable race-based segregated poverty. Thank you, but keep on fighting. Which side are you on? On the people's side. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Side.
Bravo! Yes.
Thank you so much, Jaribu, and congratulations. So our second Tony Mazzocchi Award is going to be introduced today by Martha Ojeda via video.
This is the opportunity that I have, and I'm honored to introduce Ramon Torres. He immigrated to the United States, trying to look for a living for himself and for his mother. So the first job that he found was agricultural in the fields. And he started to do everything. And he began to work in the San Joaquin and Yakima valleys. And he started to picking flowers, vegetables, and doing everything that he can, and following harvest to harvest, emigrating job to job. So he knew what was to be working from sunrise to sunset, to be exploited, to be discriminated, to get almost nothing, and be exposed to unsafe conditions. So all those injustices make Ramon to take the lead, to let the lead and fight back. And he started to organize. COVID arrived, the pandemic, that was not expected for no one. And then we see that the farm workers are now essential workers because they need to continue working, exposing their life in order that we will be able to have the food on our table. So that's the way that they decide to organize to stop that the COVID-19 virus will spread in their communities, because many of the workers are living in the labor camp. So therefore they decided to organize, and they were beyond the workplace. They went back to Yakima and they organized 6 groups, and finally 4 groups of them decided to organize their own union. So going not just to be affiliated to Familias Unidas, to be part of Familias Unidas, but they have their own representation. Ramon and his colleagues and Familias Unidas, they form a cooperative, try to be farming organic without pesticides, and try to pay a living wage, but also that the workers will have breaks and rest and shades and so on, because we are human beings. And at this time, so thanks to the support of many consumers, Familias Unidas keep going. Ramon keep leading new models for workers, trying to protect the health and safety, trying to fight back. They've been doing a lot of work and policies at the state level against the guest workers visa, who was exploiting workers because they were undocumented. They were immigrants. They don't know about their rights, so they just have to work and be disposable. So with Ramon and Familias Unidas, unionism get a different sense. Unionism, yes, is to look for better wages and to look for a better working conditions and safe working conditions, but also is for the well-being of our families and our own workers. So he brings together a new perspective to be a collaborative unionism, where we work and we fight in the workplace, but also in the farming and the labor camp and the housing and the cooperative and everything that we can. So it's an honor to me to introduce Ramon Torres, the recipient of the 2020 Tony Masaki Award from the American Public Health Association. Thank you, Ramon, for all your work. Thank for your wisdom. Thank for your leadership, but thank for restored dignity to workers and justice. Thank you.
And I believe we have Ramon live with us. Is that right?
Sí, ¿me escuchan?
Sí, sí. Escuchamos.
Bueno, pues primeramente muchas gracias por el reconocimiento. Pues es muy importante para nosotros. Y no hablo inglés, entonces Marta Ojeda me va a ayudar a interpretar un poco. ¿Sí estás en la llamada, Marta?
¿Está Marta? ¿O alguien que pueda traducir?
I can interpret if
Okay.
Marta isn't.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh,
so
ahí
can
está
you hear me?
Marta, sí.
Okay. Okay,
Hola.
first of all, thank you so much for this award. This is really important for us.
Es muy importante que, pues, saber, ¿verdad?, de dónde vengo. Yo nací en Guadalajara y toda mi vida, hasta los 17 años, trabajé haciendo otro desempeño de trabajo, que es albañil en México.
So thank you so much. It's really important to know where I'm coming from. I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, And I worked until 17, when I was 17 years old in the construction.
Llegué aquí a California y fue muy duro, pues primero empezar a trabajar en los campos y pues ver a nuestra gente cómo era maltratada, ¿verdad?
I arrived here to California and was very hard. I began to work in the field, and it's very hard to see how our people was treated very badly.
Yo no tuve la oportunidad de estudiar, ni estudiar inglés, ni nada. Entonces, lo único que tuve fue la oportunidad de trabajar y aprender con mis compañeros a cómo defendernos y cómo hacer algo mejor para, pues, cambiar los tipos, cómo nos están maltratando, ¿verdad?
I didn't have the opportunity to study. I didn't learn English or nothing. The only opportunity or chance that I had was to work and to learn from my fellow workers. And we learned how to defend ourselves. And we learned how to change these situations.
Desde 2013 nos organizamos en una compañía que se llama Sakuma Brothers Farm, 469 gente mixteca y triqui para pelear por mejores condiciones de vivienda y salud en el lugar de trabajo.
In 2013, we organized in a farm place that was called Sakuma Brothers, 469 workers from Oaxaca who speak Triqui and Mixtecos. And we were trying to improve our health and safety conditions and working conditions.
Decidimos formar nuestra unión independiente con la visión de que los mismos trabajadores nos representáramos y pudiéramos negociar y poder cuidar un contrato colectivo en la que nos beneficiaría a nosotros mismos.
So we decided to organize a union, but that would be independent or democratic, where we will represent ourselves and we will negotiate our contract and we will get better benefits.
Algo muy duro para, pues en lo personal, que me ayudó a organizar o a enfocarme un poco más, es las fresas, blueberries y moras, que es lo que nosotros piscamos. Yo creo que todos ustedes comen y están re buenas, ¿eh?
One of the things that was very hard and that really led me to organize was when we were picking the strawberries, the blueberries, the raspberry. I think that all of you eat and that they are really good, no?
Lo único que no sabemos es de dónde provienen, quién las piscó, si los trabajadores están teniendo acceso a beneficios, mejores pagos o a planes médicos. Todas esas preguntas vienen, ¿ah?
So, but we don't know who really, where they are coming from, who really picked them up, if they have some kind of benefits, health and safety protection, or how are the worker conditions. We never ask those questions.
Y la realidad, trabajando pues en el campo, todo lo que ustedes se comen, la mayoría del tiempo es pescado por menores de edad y por gente ya mayor, adulta, que no tiene un beneficio, no puede agarrar un desempleo, que tiene que seguir trabajando. Estamos hablando de gente de 80 años, todavía pescando frutas y verduras.
And the reality is that most of the food that you have on the table is picked up by child labor or for elders that they don't have the right. I'm talking about people at 80 years old and they are still working in the field.
Entonces, eso fue lo que me ayudó a mí para organizar y para entender más en qué estaba metido. Duramos 3 años y medio organizándonos para que nos reconocieran como sindicato independiente y nos dieran el derecho de una votación en la compañía de Sakuma.
So that was the really led me to organize, but we spent 3.5 years in order to really understand what was the challenges that they were facing, but also that they recognize this independent union and give them the right to vote.
En ese camino nos dimos cuenta también de la necesidad de nuestra gente, de cómo también los pesticidas nos están haciendo daño y cómo nos metíamos en el camino en la que pudiéramos hacer algo diferente. Y lo hicimos en ese transcurso formando una cooperativa de trabajadores de campo también.
So that was the path that we were follow up, and it was really hard because the pesticides was really harm the people. And we decided to do something different, and we accomplished. We did it because we formed a cooperative, farming cooperative.
Entonces ahorita tenemos una cooperativa de trabajadores de campo y una unión independiente que estamos trabajando muy duro para tener mejoramientos en nuestros lugares de trabajo, pero también una oportunidad de ser dueños de un pedazo de tierra aquí en Estados Unidos.
So right now we have just our independent union, Democratic Union, and also we have our cooperative, and we are working so hard, not just to have better working conditions, but also to be the owners of a piece of land, community land.
Ahorita estamos metidos en una campaña en la formación de un sindicato independiente nuevo en el área de Yakima, Washington.
Right now we are organizing another workers, and we are organizing another independent union in the area of Yakima in the Washington state.
Fuimos llamados por unos trabajadores que trabajan en unas bodegas en marzo de este año, en mayo, perdón, mayo 8 de este año, a ayudar a representarlos y a tratar de negociar algunos acuerdos con una compañía que se llama Allen Brothers.
So some workers called us in May of this year. They were asking us that we represent them in order to get better benefits and representation when one company that is named Allen Brothers.
Tuvimos la oportunidad de organizar 6 bodegas en las cuales lamentablemente un trabajador, David Cruz, falleció por causa del COVID-19.
So we organized 6 warehouse that unfortunately one of the workers died because of the virus COVID-19.
Y es bien importante reconocer por qué murió, ¿verdad? Las compañías lamentablemente no toman atención y no nos dan la seguridad que merecemos en el lugar de empleo, ¿verdad? No respetaron todas las reglas de emergencia que el gobernador dio. Y esto es lo que pasa cuando no siguen las reglas, ¿verdad? Lamentablemente los que sufren son los trabajadores.
So it is really important that we know why this happened, because the companies, they really don't care about what happened to the workers, and the employers did not follow up all the emergency regulations that the governor released, and that was the reason that he passed away, because they really don't care about the health and safety protections of the workplace.
Entonces, nuestro trabajo está muy enfocado en trabajar directamente con los trabajadores y darles la oportunidad de que ellos mismos se dependan y educarlos un poco de qué son sus derechos y cómo pueden usarlos en el lugar de trabajo.
So our work is to work really directly with the workers and try to empower them, training about what are the rights in the workplace, but also providing these tools that they can defend themselves.
Entonces, nuestra misión está bien clara. Cualquier trabajador en el estado de Washington que trabaje en el campo, si ocupa ayuda, pues nosotros hacemos todo lo que se pueda para poder representarlos o ayudarlos a formar sus propios sindicatos independientes para que ellos mismos se representen solos.
So our mission is very clear. So any worker in the Washington state, no matter if they need something and they call us, we have to do no matter what, everything that is in our hand to represent them, or to help them that they can form their own independent union or democratic union that they can represent themselves.
And just, excuse me, disculpen, just 2 minutes more, please. 2 minutos más.
Okay. Bueno, ya nomás iba a anunciar, pues, para las personas que quieran saber más de lo que hacemos bajo nuestro sindicato, pueden buscar en Facebook Familias Unidas por la Justicia.
So he's just announced that if you want to follow up them to learn about what the Familias Unidas Union is doing, please follow up on Facebook, Families United for Justice, pero en Spanish es Familias Unidas por la Justicia.
Quería dar las gracias, pues, principalmente a Marta, que ha sido una inspiración para nosotros, para mí en lo personal, a la Asociación de Salud Pública, a Peter, a Dolly y a todas las organizaciones que pues nos han apoyado de alguna manera, ¿verdad?
I would like to thank you, the American Public Health Association, Peter Dooley, and all the organizations who have been helping us, supporting us.
Y faltó lo tuyo.
And also to Marta, that, to me, that I've been inspiring him. Okay.
Pues han sido personas muy importantes para mí, ¿verdad? También mi maestra o la señora que me capacitó y me ayudó a desenvolverme un poco, Rosalinda Guillén. Ella es la directora de una organización que se llama Comunidad a Comunidad y por 7 años me ha enseñado una forma diferente de cómo ver nuestro lugar de trabajo y cómo podemos defendernos. Entonces, gracias a todos y gracias a los que nos han apoyado, los que no, pues siempre ocupamos ayuda. Y gracias por este reconocimiento tan importante.
Thank you also. They are being very important for me, but also I want to recognize who has been my mentor, which is Rosalinda Guillén. She's the director of Community to Community, and she's been training me almost for 7 years, and she taught me to see how we can do the things different. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all those who are supporting us, and those who are not supporting us. There are a lot of things to do. Thank you for everything.
Gracias.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, Ramon.
Gracias,
Felicidades.
Ramon.
So our final award for today is the Leslie Nichols International Award. This award recognizes individuals with outstanding achievement in the field of occupational health and safety outside the United States. And to introduce our awardee for this year is Garrett Brown.
Hello to all. Are you hearing me all right? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
So our award winner this year is Sanjeev Pandita. And for a young man, Sanjeev has a long history of engaging on worker rights in Asia. He is a well-known activist and recognized as an expert in occupational and environmental safety and health. Pandita has received several international awards, including from the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition in California, and a recognition in 2008 from the trade publication EHS Today as one of the, quote, 50 most influential environmental health and safety leaders. Sanjeev currently works as the Asia regional representative of the Swiss-based Solidaire Suisse organization, supporting grassroots organizations throughout Asia, pursuing decent and safe work. Born and raised in Kashmir, Sanjeev started working with the Society for Participatory Research in Asia, based in New Delhi, India, in 1997, on its occupational and environmental health program. His work included providing support for workers in the chemical industries in Gujarat and the mines of Jharkhand and Rajasthan in India. In 2001, Pandita began working for the Asia Monitor Resource Center, or AMRC, a regional labor organization based in Hong Kong. And Sanjeev coordinated its regional OHS program. Sanjeev led AMRC as its executive director from 2008 to 2016. Sanjeev played an important role in establishing the Asian Network for the Rights of Occupational and Environmental Victims, or ANROV. This is the leading grassroots health and safety network in Asia. Sanjeev has been essential in building global collaboration on OHS by bringing the Asian network closer to other networks such as the COSH network in the US, the European Work Hazards Network in the EU, and new OHS organizations in Africa. Sanjeev is currently also a leading member of the EU-based Electronics Watch and the US-based International Campaign for Responsible Technology, organizations protecting workers in the global electronics industry, as well as the Asian Ban Asbestos Network, ABAN, and an important network of grassroots OHS organizations in India. On a personal note, since 2002, I've gotten to know Sanjeev's family, his lovely wife, Renu, and their 2 boys at their home in Hong Kong. The boys were just children when I first met them and are now young men who, like the rest of their generation, are facing a very uncertain future as civil liberties and political rights in Hong Kong are under severe attack by the Chinese government. One of our tasks as OHS activists in 2020 must be defending the rights and personal safety of our OHS colleagues and their families in Hong Kong. On that note, please join me in welcoming Sanjeev Pandita, the winner of this year's Leslie Nichols International Activist Award. Because it's 2 a.m. in Hong Kong, we have a brief video from Sanjeev. Thank you, Mark.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Hong Kong. First of all, I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive this award from the American Public Health Association. And I would like to thank APHA, especially its Occupational Health and Safety section, for giving me this award. At this point, I would like to admit and acknowledge the exceptional role that Occupational Health and Safety section of APHA has been playing to keep workplaces safe and healthy in United States and also globally through its active outreach. I would also like to remember Leslie Nichols on this occasion as a person of immense talent, a person who was an educator, researcher, activist, devoted to the empowerment of the marginalized workers and communities. I also had an honor to work with her. It was during our trainings with the Asian Network. She actively supported our work through helping us with the certification of these doctors from University of Illinois. These doctors are working right now across Asia with marginalized communities in Pakistan, in China, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. They're helping the communities in diagnosis of occupational diseases like silicosis, asbestosis, and also in their struggle for compensation and justice. I would also like to remember my mother, who passed away in January this year. It would have been a moment of pride for her. My father and my family have been supportive of my work, though it has meant long periods of absence from my family, and I would not have been able to do it without the active support of my wife Renu. Though I am receiving this award as an individual, but I would like to emphasize, it is not only because of me, it's because of the collective, the Asian network that I am part of, which consists primarily of victims, but is also supported by activists, doctors, trade unions, and public health experts. I want to devote this award to the whole collective who are working relentlessly for the rights and justice of the marginalized communities in Asia. As the most populous continent, we are home to more than half of the humanity. We are the world factory, producing almost everything from phones and shoes in China and Vietnam to garments in Cambodia and Bangladesh. Though it has come at a price, we have half of the global death tolls due to work-related reasons, nearing incredible 1.3 million, and millions more are getting sick or injured. Ironically, one is more likely to die at work rather than going for war in Asia. The impacted workers and communities have not remained as mere passive victims, but have emerged as an active agents of change. They have been and continue to organize for their rights, and I have been witness some of the extraordinary struggles led by these marginalized workers and communities. Textile workers in Ahmedabad, few decades back, were often told that the lung disease they get at work is tuberculosis, and it has nothing to do with their occupation. But supported by activists, they were able, these were like grassroots workers, were able to do lung function tests. In fact, they learned how to do lung function tests in the union office and could even challenge the company doctors in telling accurately that this was not tuberculosis but was bisonosis. Two major fires in Thailand and southern China in 1993 led to the formation of the Solidarity Asian Occupational Safety and Health Network, which was subsequently formalized in 2001. The network ever since has been meeting almost every year victims from China, Korea, India, Japan, and other countries come together and share their experiences, their victories, and also their failures. The network has been also actively supported by the European networks like European Work Hazards Network, and also some of the amazing US networks like the Koch Network, Maquiladora Health and Safety Network, International Coalition of Responsible Technology, and of course, the American Public Health Association. Communities in the industrialized countries like United States and those in the Europe have experienced the pain and harm from hazardous work as well as hazardous substance. We are seeing the same cycle is being repeated in Asia, which should not be the case. The sharing between these networks in Asia, Europe, America, and eventually Africa will help us to link impacted communities in an important step towards developing a global grassroots network and thus the global OSH and environmental health movement. Dear friends, we are passing through one of the most difficult times in the modern industrial history. COVID has posed both occupational health as well as livelihood risks to millions of workers across the globe. In recent months, we have witnessed increase in accidents across Asia due to lax implementation, and hundreds of workers have died. This comes at a time when frontline medical staff across the globe are stretched. Despite that, through their dedication and selfless acts of sacrifice, they continue to save millions of lives while risking their life and their families. The whole humanity will be in debt for these workers. Finally, the post-pandemic world cannot be business as usual. In 2010, in Bandung, Indonesia, Asian Network passed a declaration that was influenced by European Hazard Declaration. It pledged to support actions to develop good work that is safe, meaningful, socially just, and environmentally sustainable. Work where workers are treated with dignity and respect. We need to continue to work on this pledge. And the post-pandemic world where workers and communities will be safe and healthy, and our children continue to work with pride and dignity. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Sanjeev, and one more round of congratulations to all of our award winners for the year.
Yeah.
Thank you again for all of our presenters for presenting for our awardees this year. And we are now going to move on to our skit. We would not be an OHS Section luncheon without our annual skit tradition. So I'm going to hand it over to Peter to take us into the next part of our session today.
Thanks, Kevin. So we have heard a lot of inquiries this year about what could we possibly do with the skit this year when so many of us need it the most, and you know, as many of you know, this is our more than 25th anniversary. We've been saying 25th anniversary for several years, but we will continue on and help celebrate the fact that we get together annually and have fun together. So with that, I think we're going to be moving right into the skit.
And I believe you want everyone to turn off their videos. Is that right?
Yes, if people could just turn off their videos and of course be muted during the skit, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Where is everybody? Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hey, Luis.
Good to see you.
Hey, good to see
Hi,
everybody.
everyone. Oh, I wish we
Hi.
could. Let's high five, even though we're not next to each other.
Hey. Hey. Yeah, it's
Wow.
nice with these Zoom calls to be able to be at the nudist colony here.
Yeah.
What?
Peter.
I know. I get to wear my slippers all the time.
a little facial going here and got some conditioner in my hair. So I hope y'all.
Nice.
You know.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Problem.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
And I am wearing
Rudy Giuliani look.
I do, even though I'm at the nudist colony, I do have to wear gloves because you know, I'm following the CDC guidelines, and I've gotten a little dermatitis with all the hand washing. So, but I don't know if anybody might be able to help me on the call.
So speaking of hand washing and all that, you know, it's so great to see everyone, and it's an amazing amount of material we have.
Oh my God.
Skit. I mean, it's just like endless. It's overflowing amount of. So why don't we all put our heads together and start planning this?
Oh,
come on, everybody!
And it's gonna be a lot of laughs.
It's not just a skit, it's a
Hey, how are you guys doing? I don't know about you, but man, you know, they gave us like a 10-minute break and I'm exhausted. We are working 12-hour days since this whole pandemic started. Can't catch a break. You know, we are just like fulfilling everybody's needs. They call us the fulfillment center. I don't know what people need out there, but man, we got a lot of sanitizer, bleach, Clorox. We are trying to get it out. You know, nobody can find it on the shelves, but we got it in our warehouse and they are working us to the bones.
Well, I'm impressed you got a break. And, you know, because honestly, they're treating they call us essential workers, but they're treating us pretty disposable, and like this toilet paper here. And frankly, I'm glad I have some in case I can't make it to the toilet, you know?
Well, I think it's good to have because we're supposed to be wearing PPE. I just heard of 3 other people that got sick this week. And since we're not getting the PPE, I've been using this. And it is kind of multi-purpose, so that's great.
You know, you can even sneeze into it, you know, you get a little, you know, itchy nose, it's like multi-use.
Yeah, they were really smart when they thought of this, I'll tell you.
Hey, you know, I got my kids, my grandkids. I got my grandkids here living under my roof right now, and they're on online learning. We found a YouTube channel recently. Did you know this happened back in 2006? They called it the bird flu. You guys hear about it?
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. And what they were saying is, they said pantyhose. Pantyhose can be used as PPE. So I went to my drawer. I actually found some. So I might just like, after my break, go back in because I think I might feel more like, you know, more protected.
I don't know. I'm sticking with the toilet paper. That's, I think 2 layers is better.
I'm going to go with this and my toilet paper. I think those are going to, I think that's going to be, I mean, they can't really tell us if this is protecting us or not.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't even talk right now.
Why don't we go check out that video? Can you hear me?
So.
And see what we can learn.
Public health, where the hell are you? Help us prevent catching the deadly flu. Droplets in the air, H5N1 goes airborne. Hee-ho! Don't you wonder why? And 95 in short supply. Shake my hand, touch your eyes and nose too, and we can't help catching a deadly flu.
Man. Whatever
Pretty
you
soon
need.
we'll be able to buy the Federal Reserve.
Don't we own it already? Fort Knox, whatever. Yeah.
We have friends.
Oh, yeah. In high places. Oh, yeah.
I've made in high places. Look at me. I've made enough money to buy my own personal space station.
I like it. That's your office, huh?
My new office. That's right.
Nice. Now that is working at home. Yeah, that's teleworking, really, from the space station.
You got it.
Good stuff. And all those workers on the ground, they're helping us pay the bills, which is good. They don't got this, baby. They don't got this.
I love how they're all considered essential.
Yeah. Heroes. There are heroes. Yeah. You got that right. I'll drink to that, baby. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good whiskey. So how's Jeff Jesus doing? I hadn't talked to him in a while.
Hey, man, we made $1 trillion off of this. Just move stuff around. We're going to be one big company, one big logistics company.
I love those masks from China. You can make them for like 5 cents and sell them for $50, you know? Great. It's great. Way to
And
go,
we got
Jeff.
workers banging down the doors in all our warehouses. You can't believe it. Everybody wants a job.
I need more steak. Can you guys get me some steak?
We got you steak.
Can you get me chickens? Can you get me chickens?
Do you want Amazon steak?
Oh, yeah. Or no, I want Trump steaks.
Purdue chickens?
I want a Trump steak.
Well, guys, I got a line on some vaccines manufacturing. You interested, any of you?
The vaccine market is going to be really good. Really.
That's going to bust wide open.
Yeah.
You know what? I could sell those to Whole Foods.
We'll be injecting. I'm sorry.
We could set up a special aisle at
Go
Whole
ahead.
Foods for vaccines.
Like get a little salad bar thing
Well,
going where you
salad
just
bar.
have the injection right there. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about injecting profits, right?
Yeah. What are we going to do? We got to make something happen here. How can we make more money off of this pandemic? That's our goal. Because remember that guy, the guy who was running for president, he said he's going to make everybody a millionaire. Remember?
What is your vision for America? Well, first, I'm going to create a nation of millionaires. If you don't have $1 million in your bank account, you're all going to be deported. We're going to do mandatory DNA testing to figure out your heritage, where you come from. If you don't have $1 million in the bank, you're going to go back to where your family came from. Create a nation of millionaires.
Hey guys! Thank you so much for Zooming tonight. I really need to unwind. I am so frazzled from work. I'm definitely not feeling essential.
I'm telling you, Frazzle Franny, essential workers, what a joke. It's more like disposable workers. Oh my gosh, but Frazzle Franny and Overworked Olivia, you guys are my Zoom support crew.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's great to get together, isn't it? But I have to say it's weird hearing people who can work from home complaining about Zoom when we are out there being all essential and all and putting ourselves in harm's way.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I have another Zoom. I guess I'll make another cappuccino and sit on my couch for this one. Glad nobody could see the sweatpants I'm wearing.
You guys crack me up. It's so true. The cappuccino, the whole thing. I know. It's all these people on their sofas and on their hammocks, and you see them in the background. There's like squirrels and dogs running behind them, and you know they really should have their own Zoom support group.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
hey, you guys, check out that YouTube channel I told you about, the one by that safety guy, Mark Catlin.
Oh my God, living hero. It's amazing. After I finish helping the kids with their schoolwork and I wash the PPE the boss says we have to use over and over again, I've been watching all those videos. They're amazing.
So tell me, which ones have you watched recently?
So the one that I'm really into right now, it's called Union Safety Man. Union Safety Man.
Union Safety Man. Union Safety Man. We'll document those hazards so the workers don't take the blame. Calling for an OSHA investigation. Urging them to cite the violations. It will talk to management and lax enforcement. The odds are you might not live to see tomorrow. Union Safety Man. Union Safety Man. Real
I told you it was amazing.
So true. Union Safety Man. Union Safety
Man.
Oh God, we're so overworked. Olivia, I can't thank you so much for telling us about that YouTube channel. I love those skits. It's better than Broadway.
The production value.
It's the
artistry.
characters, the themes.
Oh, the production value, the artistry, the redundancy.
But seriously, yeah, the redundancy. But seriously, I have to say, they are kind of inspiring. You know, everyone, they start with the injured workers that are so exploited. And then you see completely how the system is rigged with all the capitalists and the management and the despicable government officials and everybody screwing the workers.
Exactly. But then workers get together to help each other. They claim their power and demand change.
Talk about amazing. I saw one that was so inspiring. Watch this clip.
Ooh.
We face hazard every single day. Hanging boxes from the warehouse bay. You guess I say won't be treated this way. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Everybody stand up. Fight back.
That was amazing.
You know, you guys I have a different Zoom support 7 nights a week because I work 7 days a week. All of us are sick and tired of being exploited.
You know, oops, sorry. Look at me, you know, I'm sick and tired.
Yeah, me too.
So let me tell you what we're planning. We need to join in too, okay?
Ooh,
Let's
what do you
try to
got
get
going on?
together. Let's talk about it. We need to huddle, okay?
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Okay, let's call a meeting together of the Presidential Task Force on the coronavirus. So what's the latest updates? I know that we're doing a fantastic job. We're doing like the best job ever.
Mr. Vice President,
Sure.
People aren't sort of doing the things that we know that we can do to stop the pandemic. I mean, I just think that our messaging is not getting through at all.
And I'd like to say that I agree with Dr. Fauci, Mr. President. We have really not flattened the curve. Despite your fine efforts, we really, we're not moving in the right direction.
Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is how fantastic of a job the administration is doing, and the fact that President Trump has sacrificed his own health to show people how to get over the coronavirus, that anybody can do it who's not a loser. Now, there's a lot of losers out there.
President Trump? President Trump? Or how about some CDC recommendations? Do we have any CDC recommendations?
Dr. Redfield?
Stay home. Stay home. Just stay home.
Well, you know, I have been talking to Dr. Fauci and Dr. John Howard, and we really do think it is appropriate time to now adopt an emergency standard so that workers are protected, because they really, as Dr. Fauci knows, they're really at the core of the outbreaks that have been occurring.
That's what science says. Science says, yes.
We don't need any additional standards. The folks who are who have our back, they don't want any standards. They don't want any OSHA intervention. It's the losers that are the problem, and it's not a bad thing getting rid of some of the losers in our country.
But that's called herd immunity, Vice President. That involves people dying, more people dying. I don't think that's what we want, because they won't be able to vote for President Trump if they die. I don't think. Maybe they can. I'm not sure.
And we're not going to have a vaccine for, gosh, who knows?
It's going to be about a herd mentality of the COVIDiots. I would like to make another pitch for a standard to protect workers, because as Dr. Fauci and I know, and from all of our colleagues, we know from the science that that would be a very, very effective way to control the spread and to ensure that more individuals are not harmed and that we do not have as many deaths.
Thank you, Dr. Burks. I think that President Trump is muted. What? What?
What? You lies!
What the?
Forcers! I am your worst enemy. I epitomize the essential workers of the world. I banish you all to the black void of task force doomsday. Fine, Tony. Although I'm taking you with me, Tony. We know you're really one of us. Arise, workers of the world. Join me. Join me. Now.
We don't need this task force. We need a standard. We're taking over.
I'm afraid we're being Zoom bombed.
I think. Wait, who's controlling this meeting? Vice President Pence.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to This land was made for you and me.
Encore, encore.
Encore, you gotta be kidding.
Now do we get lunch?
Thank you all, our thespian team, for coming through again in this virtual year meeting.
If we can't laugh, what can we do?
Exactly. Exactly. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
So I believe the last portion, Peter, do you want to say something?
I just said, keep laughing.
Keep laughing.
Where's our laugh track? We didn't have a laugh track.
We can do it live. So we are asking people to put their video and microphone on for the end, for the final session here. Final thought.
And in the last 15 minutes or so we have, I think we're gonna go to breakout rooms, right? Still the plan?
Yeah, what's going to happen is we've just randomly divided people into groups, and we have no idea how many people want to do this or whatever. I think we have about, like 10 or 15 groups, and I think Joy is going to put information in the chat box. And our idea was that each of you would go to a group with a group of people and hang out, and we're going to kind of ask you to talk to 2 questions. I can't remember what the 2 were. What's been your favorite thing in the pandemic that's brought joy? And then what is your biggest hope for the future, this dark winter ahead? So we're going to have a little time that people can really visit. We were originally going to have lunch table groups of lunch tables, which you remember because all of you have been part of it. I know there's a lot of hugging going on and whatever at our lunch tables, but go and virtually hug your colleagues in your breakout rooms, okay?
Thank you. I will open the breakout rooms now.
Okay. And just a final thanks to everyone who was involved in putting the logistics together for this meeting. This was really, really fantastic. Thank you everyone for helping it to go smoothly.
Special mention to Mark Catlin for pulling all the videos.
Woohoo!
And
Mark. Amazing.
Mark.
Oh, Mark. History alive.
And great seeing everyone.
See you at the next session.
See you at the next session.
Yeah, and turn your video on if you can, your cameras.
Bye, everyone.